This time last year, I fell in love with a horse. His name is Gelo Shop, and he's a beautiful, rangy chestnut gelding who just loves to race. In fact, I fell in love with him so much, I just had to buy a share with OTI. Now, never in my wildest dreams did I think he'd be racing here on Cox Plate Day. I thought he might win a race or two, but never be here. Now that I'm standing in his race day stall, it's all become very real, and I am very nervous. In a few hours' time, he'll be leaving the Werribee Quarantine Centre with the other two internationals, Highland Reel and Arod. They had to be on course 3 hours before the race, something they're not used to in Europe, and they'll also be experiencing the intense atmosphere of Moonee Valley for the first time. So we'll be keeping a close eye on them throughout the day, and someone might need to keep a close eye on me and my nerves.
Well, it was a great Caulfield Cup. It promised to be, and it whets the appetite for what might happen at Flemington on the first Tuesday as well, doesn't it?
Oh, very much so. And I think everybody in Australia is very excited to see that there's a great local horse, Mongolian Khan, who was able to do that, win so impressively in the Caulfield Cup, keeping the international raiders at bay. But trip to Paris was very, very impressive. Being able to quicken like that on a track that wouldn't really suit was great. And our Ivanhoe for third was also good.
I think the New Zealanders are claiming Mongolian Khan as well, but we do that with our horse. We did that with Farlap, didn't we? But look, from the turn, I mean, Opie had to go a little bit earlier than maybe normally.
And he's funny, like, sometimes he'll jump well and go with the field, and other times he'll miss the break, a bit like last night, and he sat last, and just before the bend, I think he was the first horse off the bridle. Tommy Berry was having to really roust him along, but then somehow he picks up. He does have that funny action with his head up, but he can just fly, can't he? Really impressive that day. He got absolutely no luck, was stuck on the rail, couldn't get out. When he did get out, he absolutely flew home, but it was all a little bit too late that day. He was $31 that day. He's a bit shorter here today, and he looks really wonderful in Mountain Yard. Barrier 9 gives him a few options.
Jessica, and here's Pearl Congenial, who's a daughter, I think.
Yes, and she's a lovely looking filly, although you can see she's not overly big, and often with these speedy two-year-olds, they're a bit like that. But she ran really well at Caulfield last start. She was left in front quite a long way, possibly got a bit, distracted. She was a bit green. She's had a good gallop since, and the winkers go on today, so she'll be a lot more focused on her job. Whether she leads or not from barrier 13, we'll have to find out, but she looks better than she did at Caulfield. Didn't he? It was quite an upset that day when he beat Super One, Michael Friedman's star sprinter from Singapore. But he was very good that day. He went to the lead, he got the rail, and when Super One challenged him, he pinned his ears back and really fought. He's also boasts a win over this track and this distance at Moonee Valley, and he looks in great condition, got the nose roll on. Lots of ticks for me. No, they're going to drop her back down in distance because she's just been getting caught late. She always leads, sets really quick times, and then just gets caught late. I said, today you're going to lead because it's a shorter distance, have lots of competition, and he said, yes, we're going to try, and we'll try and stick on all the way to the end. She is quite on her toes here.
This is the quick backup for Heir Apparent.
Yeah, David's absolutely flying. You can't discount any of his horses. Look, she led in the Edwin Manifold until late on that day when she got run down by the others. And then at Caulfield, she's probably just in the wrong part of the race to strike. So, yeah, quick backup. But like I said, Hayes can do no wrong at the moment, and Davening. Physically, she's quite a long lady for a 3-year-old filly. She probably wouldn't win any beauty contest, but that's not going to stop her running. Yes, definitely not even close to the first lady.
What have you got for us with Dagny?
Yeah, looking at Dagny here, I remember seeing her quite a bit as a 2-year-old last year when she was running in those early 2-year-old races. She's physically come on a lot for that, but she's run 6 times now and still yet to put one on the board, yet to score. And today she's going up in grade.
Here's Silent Sedition. She's a backmarker, but impressive.
Oh, she is, and she always tends to get back and absolutely flies home. Will she do a similar thing today, Craig?
She's on a really nice gate and she steps up in trip, but we don't really want to change her run style, so we want to be as close as we can, but comfortable, most importantly.
OK, I'm just going to get out of your way. Good luck. He has been running over a mile rather than 2,000 metres, but he's, like Craig said again, it's over undulating tracks, which is more like 1.25 miles, so he's right in the mix. Well, it's always quite interesting trying to read between the lines. You never know if he's disappointing or if he is a bit lazy, but normally in England we work our horses with a mate, so they've got someone to challenge and to work against, whereas Arab was, I think, just a bit lazy, and Craig had to get a bit serious with him to make him go through with his work. But no, the camp I think seemed happy enough, and yeah, he's like I say, he's got a really good chance.
No, last week at, or in the Gothic at Caulfield. He was strong, he just didn't quite get there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the key with this horse, I was just chatting to Henry Plumtree there, and he said that John O'Shea says he's quite a burly horse, so he carries quite a lot of condition. In other words, he's quite hard to get fit, maybe a touch fat. So really today is a question of getting him a bit more race experience, a bit more fitness under his belt, so he can then go to the Carbine Club next week. So I think last week he just really lacked a bit of fitness, essentially. So that's what they're going to hope to see today, and whether he can win or not, we'll see.
Chance.
It does indeed. You know, he's only won one of his 5 starts, and that was here at the Valley, but in my opinion, he should have won at least 3. He's been so unlucky. He always kind of gets back, and sometimes he's just... no, sorry, he doesn't get back, but he does too much in front. He's a bit too keen, and what I really like today is that they've taken the blinkers off and put the winkers on, so that...
There's a little bit of the Tortines about the way she races, I reckon.
Well, it's funny you say that. I was just talking to the Lindsay Park guys, and I said, so tell me about Haybar, and they said she'll do exactly the same as Tortine. So you're spot on there, Bruce. I think she'll jump well and go to the front and try and tough it out just like her stablemate. She's a lovely little horse, this one. She's only tiny, and I thought she would be a real 2-year-old type that might not go on, but, you know, after 11 starts, she's still going strong.
Third in a Golden Slipper.
I know, and they're only the winner of 1 race. She's a little bit of a funny one, this one, isn't she? She was actually $1 million yearling, can you believe it? But you can see why, because she is a beautiful specimen. But she's got that good form on the board, but her recent form, not so good.
And Francesca, I reckon there's a lot of sweethearts at the Valley today, and we've got one right in front of you, and she's unbeaten.
Isn't she well named? Valley Sweetheart, absolutely perfect. And I just bumped into Peter Moody, and I said, look, she's had 1 run. How's she going to go against better company? And he said he quite fancies her. What do you think, Glenn?
Yeah, well, she showed us a lot before her first run, so she was well fancied, obviously, for her first run, so the ability's always been there. So it's probably no surprise that he brought her here for a stakes race.
Great, well, good luck.
The biggest weight for age race of the year in Australia is the WS Cox Plate, and this year it's attracted a record number of international runners. My job is to give you an insight into how I think they'll go. Second of the international runners is the Qatar bloodstock-owned Arod. Trained by Peter Chapel High Point, declare a special interest in Galo Shop. He's the first horse I've owned a share in, and wow, what a thrill to have a runner in Australia's biggest weight for age race. Rangy chestnut gelding with a huge stride that eats up the ground. 3 of the international runners have a realistic chance of capturing this iconic race, purely because, dare I say it, I think they could just be better horses than the locals. But if I had to pick one, my head says Arod, but my heart is with Galo Shop all the way.
Difficult to say. I mean, different years, different horses. They both won the Secretariat Stakes, and then otherwise they've run in slightly different races. But his form is equally as good, if not identical.
What a much an informed horse, wasn't he?
It was indeed, having won the Herbert Power. But you know what, Bruce? He hasn't won a race since, which is surprising for a horse of his calibre. He's at his best over 1.5 miles, and he does like Moonee Valley. I bumped into Tony McAvoy, who said he's just had a few troubles with him this preparation, just niggling issues. He thinks he's nearly there, but he might need this run just to top him off before the Queen Elizabeth. He's a funny one to try and gauge, isn't he? Because he's won 13 of his 32 starts, so essentially he's a very good horse, but his recent form doesn't read that well, but I think it's better than it looks on paper. And he actually presents really well here in the Mountain Yard. Lovely shine on him, he looks hard fit, and he's probably a bit of value here today. Definitely an each-way chance, if not better.
I quite liked her run at the Herbert Power.
Yeah, I did too, Bruce, and I think that's probably some of the best form coming into this race. She led there until she was, until Amralla went scooting past her, and we all saw how impressive he was that day. But, you know, she wasn't beaten that far, considering the opposition she's taking on today. She looks really well in the coach. She's striding out nicely in the Mountain Yard. I give her a good chance.
Good form, I reckon, out of the Caulfield Guineas.
Yeah, 4th there, and he's won the Stud Stakes here at Moonee Valley previously, so we know he handles the course, and he is an absolute beauty, I've got to tell you, and I know the Hayes Dabenig team are very confident.
Amavatio, oh, nothing wrong with this form, is there, Francesca?
No, not at all. He's been stringing together the wins of late, and remember at Caulfield he was so good under a very patient ride, and he just burst through at the end. I think that day he was really the standout horse, both on looks and ability in a lesser field. I think this is going to be tougher, but he does look very well.
before last.
Yeah, I mean, make no mistake, his European form is very, very good. My only query is that he had quite a long break over the European winter, and then he had 2 starts over the summer, and he came last on both occasions. Now, the Godolphin team have said they're very happy with him. He's been working really well. They've added the tongue tie, so maybe that was a reason for his below-par performances in Europe. But
before Tuesday, which we couldn't believe, Cheska, how's he look?
Yeah, I know that. For such a successful jockey to be having his first ride in Victoria, and its first run for this horse here in Victoria, he looks really well. The thing I'm putting my hat on is to say whether he was just racing against better horses or whether he lacked Bart's training efforts. I don't know. It depends.
I thought he was more dour over there.
I reckon I'm with you. And look,
David
Hayes might be right. This might be the national championships and that might be the Olympics, but I'd like to think our horses are as good as any in the world, but maybe they're not in the middle distance.
What would he have done if he had stayed in Australia?
But how good is that form? I'm not sure.
How did Sons of John go on the last race?
Exactly, in a lesser race. So I don't know. Yes, she was good. You can't take anything away from her, but she's up in grade significantly.
Francesca, let's start with Criterion, and what a career he's building, eh? What a horse he is.
Isn't he? I mean, the Caulfield Stakes is one of the best guides for this race, and he won it fresh out of quarantine off the back of a campaign in Europe where Ben Hayes was looking after him. Ben, if he wins today, it's basically all down to you, isn't it?
No. I was just doing Dad's instructions, but I'll be very happy if he does win.
Well, he's got a great chance, and he looks fantastic. He's going to definitely go close.
Hartnell, well, in the autumn, at one stage when he won the BMW, we thought he might be the next super horse. How's he look?
Yeah, very much so. We were getting very excited when he won the BMW, beating a good Japanese horse. But not always, that autumn form doesn't always translate to the spring, and his first couple of runs this prep haven't been a huge amount to get excited about, but I think he could be flying under the radar here.
A horse that you and Francesca have got an interest in. He's got a brilliant record at the trip, Francesca.
Oh, he has indeed, and he's such a genuine horse. He just wants to give his all. He's just grinding his teeth here. He's anticipating what's about to happen. Got a little bit of a coat on him here because he thinks he's going into winter, but otherwise he looks superb. Brad, can you get him home for us?
I can't wait. I think he's can't be going any better than what he's done for me this week in track work, and you've seen his form. I mean, he's up to it, up to his ears, so bit of luck.
We'll be with you all the way.
Both of you, your first Cox Plate runner, it must be an incredible feeling.
How are your nerves holding up? I can feel my heart in my mouth, literally.
Yeah, no, it's pretty exciting stuff.
Understatement of the year.
I like living, showing the heart on the sleeve at these particular times, but look, this is brilliant. The atmosphere of this and getting down here and the expectation of everyone. I just saw John O'Shea and he can't look. And I'm saying, hang on.
I know, I think I might just sink behind this hedge as they start going.
That's the sort of view you get. It's why you race.
You'll be pleased to know that he looked great in the mounting yard. He was quite nice and relaxed because he can get a bit on edge before his races. But
his preliminaries were good.
Yeah, he's good. So he's got the hood on just to muffle all the noises which are going to take off at the last possible moment.
Well, if he wins, they probably should put some hood on me, I reckon, a little bit later on.
We don't expect to see you for a while if that just finally, guys, I mean...
A difficult attempt for her. She's very consistent. She is actually rarely out of the placings. For 5 attempts at a mile at the Moonee Valley for 3 seconds, but no win. So look, she looks great in the mounting yard. She's got the blinkers on today. Yes, exactly, Bruce. Looking her at the yard, she's probably not quite got a brilliant gleam on her coat, but she's a nice looking mare. She's quite long in the back and a nice strong powerful hindquarters. Look, she does tend to get back a bit in her races, so I think she's going to need good horses off the back of the Epsom win. She's got that incredible turn of foot. Yes, she might have been in the right lane today. She had a good barrier, but she was exceptional there.